I'm Troy the Trainer, and today we're talking about food. I'm so excited. I am only weeks away from releasing my new meal plan program. For 15 years, I've been helping people all over the world learn how to eat better using fruits, vegetables, proteins, and just learning what's in food and how to navigate that food system. As a chef, I have been teaching people breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 15 years. I've been telling individuals that breakfast was the most important meal of the day. And throughout breakfast, lunch, and dinner, we have snacks in between that. We have dessert. And what I came to realize is that we need to re-examine the way we're eating, because I could not form a meal plan that was good enough for my family on that traditional system. So today, let's talk about it. Today's examination is overeating in the traditional BLD syndrome system, that breakfast, lunch, and dinner system, a critical examination. In today's world, where food is readily available and portion sizes grow larger by the year, overeating has become a major issue. I remember almost 15 years ago when fast food was so popular and spreading nationwide, and then they supersized it. And let me tell you, when they supersized it, it was awesome. It was incredible, yo. People loved the supersize. And just to have a 32-ounce soda. You know, the soda was so big, it would get flat before you even finish it. But we loved it. The large fry went to a supersized fry, and we loved it. It didn't take long. It did not take long for the health impacts to emerge rapidly. Within a few years, not even that long, people started to feel the pain. And as fast as supersize came in, supersize was discontinued. Okay. This 3-meal structure that's ingrained in many cultures often encourages patterns of consumption that lead us to overeating, poor health, and chronic disease. We don't even think about what we're eating, how we're eating, when we're eating, or if we should even be eating. Overeating, poor health, and chronic disease and pain are the results. So we're going to explore the reasons behind this. We're going to try to find some clarity as to the why this happened and how this system was situated. We're going to dive into the standard of the meal system and how it's contributing to overeating and what changes we can make to foster healthier eating habits. The origins of the 3-meal system. The origins of the BLD syndrome. To understand the actual problem, we need to look at the origin of the eating system. Now, historically, the concept of 3 meals a day evolved from societal and cultural norms versus the actual biological needs that we have as far as food goes. It was really designed to work around daily work schedules, social expectations, and even religious customs. So when electricity became readily available, refrigeration became readily available, with all of these new inventions, the freezer, the automobile, we began to structure how we eat around our work schedules, our social engagements, and our religious customs. Now, as the modern times have come around, this system has persisted, and more people are kind of figuring out that, I don't really like breakfast, or I don't really do lunch that much. I eat one meal here, one meal there. I eat my fruits, I eat some vegetables here and there. I eat some nuts and some berries. And so right now we have a system where everybody's doing something a little bit different. In the industrialized rise of processed foods and the more abundant that financial wellness became in America and in developing countries, the more we saw processed foods that are less calorie dense than ever before become a convenient household item. So now you have it to where Americans are making more money. The 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. This is the economic boom of America. And now convenient foods that are very low in nutrients became popular. All the major companies that make food today got in business during those times and began pumping out very low quality foods. And they would classify them as either breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And then some companies coming toward the 80s decided, no, 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 no. We don't want our food to be categorized. We want it to be an all day, anytime enjoyment. The 3 meal system encouraged consumption and predetermined times, regardless of whether or not you were actually hungry or not. This led to many eating out of their habit rather than necessity. And the result was the weight of the nation. HBO specials, NBC specials about diabetes and cancer in America, the rising healthcare cost in America, and the worry and fear that many have in getting cancer or diabetes. Our first point was that the origin of the 3 meal system came more from societal work habits, from social engagements, because you got to remember, from the 50s to the 80s, a lot of restaurants were established. Okay. I mean, the basic landscape of sit down restaurants were kind of established between that 1950s and 1980s. The new style, TGI Fridays, Houlihan's, Houston's, Pascal's, and the list goes on and on. So social places became eating places. So we began eating more and more and more until we get to our state and time now. And in our second point, we're going to talk about the structure encouraging overeating, because that's kind of where we were leading into. We see now how the system was set up. Now, how does it make us overeat, or how does that happen? Well, we talked a little bit about the supersize and how that came into play. Because of the cultural expectations to eat substantial meals at a designated time, people often consume larger portions than their body really requires. It's just that simple. We are expected to order something to eat when we go out with a group, or when we meet, friends out at a restaurant or at a bar or at a social engagement. We're expected to eat some food, especially if there's food available, and if someone actually cooked that food at a barbecue or something like that nature, then it'd be almost disrespectful not to eat. And me and my friend Jahari were talking the other day, and we talked about that if you go to somebody's house and you don't eat a lot, then they think you don't like the food. And they will become insulted in America if they prepare food and you don't eat a lot of it. So cultural expectations is number one when it came to how this system created overeating. Breakfast, lunch, and dinners, particularly in our culture, have expanded in size, that supersize. Instead of listening to internal hunger signals, many of us often conditioned to clear the plate leading to excess calorie intake. When you got a supersized meal, you could not leave it and take some home for later. You know, fast food really doesn't taste that good 10 or 15 hours later. So again, in this larger size portion segment, we're saying here that it was conditioned that we were to eat all the food. You know, it's just mentally when you order something like that from a fast food place or from a restaurant, you normally eat it all. Today, sometimes we're seeing some people get to go boxes. When you eat at a restaurant type situation, but many times we're overeating because of the portion size. Number two is ignoring our hunger cues. The 3 meal system trains us to eat when the clock dictates rather than when our bodies actually are hungry. And when you get on a system from when you're young to eating in a certain way, your mind can actually trick you into thinking you're hungry when you're not. That's how you become overweight. See, you don't become overweight because you were always hungry and you ate. That's not how overweight comes. Overweight comes when you're actually not hungry, but you're eating anyway. And that's that internal clock that has been trained to eat at certain times versus when you actually need to. This internal cue system can override your body's natural rhythms and cause you to eat out of habit. I'm sorry. These internal cues can override our body's natural rhythms, causing us to eat out of habit, out of boredom, or out of routine rather than genuine need. And one of my friends and I were actually talking about emotional eating and how many people eat out of emotion when you're tired or when you're stressed. We we seem to go to chips and cookies and snacks and maybe even a pasta or take ourselves out to a big dinner. So the 3 meal system has conditioned us to eat out of time, on time, or in a system rather than actually being hungry or actually needing to eat. So what can happen when you eat when you don't really need to eat? Over time, this can lead to a disconnect from your actual hunger cues. And it can lead to a cycle of overeating, feeling sluggish, or bloated after meals. Weight gain is often a sign of overeating. So, one of the key points that I was so adamant about in our meal plan is that we needed to break this cycle and we needed to reconnect to our hunger cues so that we eat when we need to, we eat what we need to, and we're not overeating, we're not feeling sluggish, and we're not bloated all day or after our meals. So here's the deal. Most of us are stuck in this cycle of overeating and grabbing whatever's quick, missing out on real nutrition each day. Many people try to eat meal plans that are 1 meal a day or a specific meal with a little nuts, a little berries, a little rice, and end up with sluggish days, unwanted weight gain, and just not feeling your best. But let me ask you this. What if you could eat like a chef every single day? That's exactly what my meal plan does. I don't just hand you a fruit prepped meals and send you on your way. No, I become your personal chef, designing your entire day of eating so you get the right nutrients at the right time in the right portions. This is a Monday through Friday service that goes month to month, and it's designed to simplify your life, elevate your health, and give you food that makes you feel amazing. No more guessing, No more wasting time shopping for groceries or wasted foods. Just incredible meals made with purpose, made for you. So here's what to do next. Click the link, sign up, and let me take your meal planning off your plate so you can finally enjoy eating like a chef. I'm Chef Troy, and I'll see you on the inside.